What's up, guys? It's Roberto from the Media.
What's up, guys? Tommy Kentner from TK Auto Works, and today we're trying to do a video / podcast on getting into. So you're buying your first car, but you know you're going to modify it, and we kind of want to give you a step in the right direction. So when you're choosing the car, you see it has like a lot of aftermarket support, and then that way when you get into the car, you have a lot of options to choose from versus like when you buy a new car and then you're limited on what you can get into and stuff like that right there. So
yes,
we're going to just try to go over like good platforms and good parts that follow with it. So what would you think would be a good car, good platform to start out with?
It kind of depends. I would say for the most part, if a car is rear-wheel drive, you're more likely to be able to make it work. But I think there's like two equations to this. If you get a car that's too new, there's not going to be any aftermarket support, and the parts are going to be there, like Tommy said, because there's not a lot of competitors. For example, for the GR Corolla, when I was kind of looking into that car, there were only like a couple downpipe brands, and the prices were crazy. Same thing with the tuners. There weren't a lot of tuners that were working on that, and like I think I heard a guy saying that like it was gonna be like $3,000 for tuners. Like that's insane. For 350 horsepower.
Right.
Come on. I kind of dealt with like a little bit of that when I got my WRX because of the FA20 was like the newer gen. But at that moment, there was such a big growth. Like I don't think it was something that kind of held me back that much.
No.
But, you know, for example, with the Subaru, like with an EJ Subaru in particular, like everything has been done, and like all the weaknesses that it has, where there's like from not enough oiling to, you know, the gaskets, like all these like myths too, like they're kind of been thrown out there.
Right.
They have been figured out.
Yeah.
So if you do those things and, you know, do the basic maintenance, you're really not going to have any issues unless you go past that part, that like rated horsepower where you're at, you know. The second equation of that would be getting into a car that you're going to swap. I know this very well because I try to be different, and you know, it's cool. Like, trust me, like when you go to a car show and I haven't seen that before. That being different costs a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of headaches. And you're gonna be in a forum talking to somebody who did this, that's somewhat similar, trying to figure out if it did that. Where, for example, like if you get like a Lexus SC300, something that came with a 2J. It's a whole lot easier to go from that to put a turbo to make it manual.
Right.
Where they have the kits, they have the bell housing, even the aftermarket drive shaft where it's custom made for the, you know, that size, than to have to figure it all out yourself.
Yeah.
It is such a headache trying to do that. And that's just something that can be seen with like a lot of other platforms. Which one else do you think?
I would say like any Nissan 240 would be a good chassis to start out with.
That's a great one. And like literally everything, literally everything's been done with that one.
And yeah, because it's like if you like a motor, you like any chassis of it. I mean, everything's been in and out of that chassis. Mm-hmm. So I would say a lot of people like have a bunch of knowledge. And I mean, we're not saying like if you own a certain car and a certain motor, you know, it ain't don't go for it. But just to kind of lessen your headache and and kind of, you know, cut the date down from start to finish, where it's like, you know, if it hasn't been done before, and then if it's been done before. But no, I'd say the Nissan 240 is probably one of the more
the best swappable car there is, honestly.
Yeah,
and I think that's the reason why the chassis itself is so expensive, because people kind of know that. Because, for example, you can get like a somewhat basic roll cage for a 240 for like $300.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, there's so many of them, people figure it out.
Yeah.
Where if you're getting a one-on-one, you're probably, I mean, I paid $5,000 back in the day. I'm sure it's got to be probably,
it's
$8, $9.
probably double that.
Yeah, at least, you know, the materials alone have gone up such a high price.
Yeah, because I think just the mid-pipe material for the Supra was like $600. So yeah.
Whoa.
Materials went up a lot.
So like that kind of stuff where if you can find something that's already made, that is just such a better way. Because at the end of the day, I think we just kind of get too focused on like on that number or that thing. But if you're not driving the car, you're not really enjoying it, what does it all really matter? An extra 100 horsepower versus a 300 horsepower car that drives versus a 400 horsepower that doesn't.
Right.
And a 400 horsepower car that's going to sit on stands for 2 years. I'll take the 300 horsepower every time, you know?
And get those projects done.
Oh, yeah.
And get them out and drive.
And the thing is, like, a lot of people don't realize, but like, you can have the car, and once it's done, you can change one thing at a time while the car is driving, and that's a very good path to take.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it all at once.
Yeah, because it's so expensive.
Yeah. Get your base right. Get your, you know, all the important things right, so that like, and later on you can kind of grow. But I'll just do that every time.
Definitely kind of get the recipe for your foundation, and then expand from there. Because like I said, plus once it's running and you can enjoy it a little bit more, it makes it worth, you know, you're not just throwing money, and then not having.
You're driving it. You're enjoying it.
Yeah. So it definitely makes it a better path.
The big one, I would say, the big one is the Miata. And Miata is now seeing like a big resurgence with the K series and the BRZ K Power.
Yep, K Power.
Man, that is a complete kit. Like, if you want to buy something that you, a couple friends can probably throw in there, it's pretty doable. They really make the kit start to finish. And particularly if you go NA, like, it's something that like I think you can go. Well, once you go boost, like it's a little more complicated, and I'll probably have a shop like Tommy kind of look at it. But that's my whole thing. Just kind of do everything you can yourself. Save that money there, and then once you get to a certain point where like you feel uncomfortable, bring it to a place and like a real shop, and they kind of take care of the last little bit. Because that like, you can get to like that 95%, and the last 5%. Man. That last 5% is almost harder than the last 40%, you know?
Yeah, and it takes twice the time.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's so crazy.
Yeah, because definitely like messing with, wiring up, your computer. And
that's the biggest one for me. Yeah. That's the thing where you guys really shine. You know? With, Adrian being a wizard with a wiring.
Right. It's funny because he's colorblind too.
That's funny. Oh man.
Yeah, but that just shows you can do anything. Right. Put your mind to it.
Right.
But
yeah, like just choosing the right parts, whether it's a swap or even just a car that you're getting because it's too new.
Yeah.
For example, when the new Supra came out with the B58, like the BMW engine. The reason of why that car did so well is because they had so much aftermarket support.
Because that motor was
around, or something very similar was around. Where our friend Adam with the C8, he had a lot of issues with his because he was basically the first person, one of the first people to twin turbo one.
Yeah.
And
then push the platform.
Right.
Which costs.
And it's awesome. Like once you saw the car and like, oh man, you saw the big old turbos in the back and how wide the car is and everything else. Like
noises it made.
Yes. But you just don't want to be that guy trying to figure out, once again, that last 5%. And that last 5% is the kind of thing that can break you as far as like pushing you to finish the goal line.
Yeah, because he was having like the transmission was getting upset because of certain things and all that good stuff. And then they had the car a year and still didn't figure it out. So it's just little stuff like that when you're doing a new chassis that I would just kind of stay away from, because let it come out a couple of years and let them get it figured out, and then go, because then your money just goes so much further.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's going to save you a lot of money.
And another thing is too, like with a lot of these cars, the new cars are so locked down, you might not even ever be able to open them up unless you go like aftermarket ECUs on both the transmission and the engine. So like you're doubling up the money.
For the CH, you have to do two fuel techs.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's money. Be ready for that.
Yeah. So guys, like I said, we was just trying to get you a better understanding when you're getting into cars, like choose the right platform, and then that way it's just going to make your project go smoother, easier, and more efficient, and save you a lot of headache. Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people think, oh, I can just get these engine mounts and put this random engine into here because I have the engine mounts, and they see the engine in there. And like, while that's like good motivation to kind of keep you going, you know, like, because like that makes it real, there is so much more than just putting the engine there. Right. So, you know, once again, just me personally, I already talked to Tommy, like I'm never going to be the guy to like start something like that again. Like we're talking about, you know, the ICE 300 with the wagon, you know, I kind of like, oh, that looks good. But, you know, once again, like, you just buy the stuff for it, or you can put a GTE motor straight into it too. Like that's another option, you know.
Yep, and you can turbo the GE motor too.
Right. So, but you're not starting from scratch. That was a car that already had that engine, already had it. Even if you change the trans, like it's somewhat similar trans, maybe just like a little bit wider tunnel or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I would do. I'm trying to think what else. BRZ is like another one that's coming up, and I would say it's pretty much like the modern 240 as far as that. You know, they're swapping everything into that.
And I hate to say it, but you can pick them up cheap now. But I don't know how much longer it's going to last, because, like I said, once something is considered cheap, then
it's like the 2J. The K is still cheap, but like from what I heard, you could get it for super cheap back in the like $300-400.
Yeah, I mean, the motors are still relatively cheap. It's just everything you need to do the swap. Like, I mean, you're going to spend probably 20 grand on everything you need to do it.
It adds up. So, but I mean, once you have the car and you put that in there, you're setting up yourself to have a level of performance that was really not available on anything like that.
No.
And I think, me personally, like I would rather kind of take something like that is more unique and it's more analog, like it's a real driving experience versus the new cars that they just do too much for you, and you know, I don't feel like a connection with them.
Right.
But you know, everybody has their thing.
Yeah, guys, drop a comment below. Let us know what platform you're looking into, or what platform you got, and what's your ideas with the platform, because we're here to give you, you know, advice and try to help you along with your build and your project, and any of that feedback can, you know, that we can help you along with, we're going to help you along with. So just hit that like and subscribe if you like this stuff, and drop a comment below, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.